Failure sucks, and I don't have to prove that to you. But failure is the best teacher. I shouldn't have to prove that to you, but here goes. It's 4 a.m, and I'm awoken by this sound. It's time to wake up and meditate. It's a little over a year ago, and I'm at a Vipassana meditation course. 10 days of total silence, meditating 10 hours a day. If you've ever meditated before, you'll know that your mind wanders, especially at 4 a.m. when you're in a dark, cozy, warm, sleepy room. The silence is interrupted every now and then by what I think is one of the most important, unintentional lessons I have ever learned.
Start again.
No, you're right. Let me start over.
I'll come in again.
Meditation is misunderstood more often than not. Oftentimes people think that it's about quieting the mind or synthesizing a sense of peace with your fellow man. And these are good benefits of meditation. But the point of meditation is to be aware of your thoughts. And with that awareness, we can consciously act instead of unconsciously react. At the beginning of my meditation course, I was told that my mind was going to wander, and when it happened, I shouldn't get frustrated. I should just lovingly bring my attention back. Notice it's not if my mind wanders, but the instant I notice it happening. I shouldn't react to this failure, but lovingly bring my mind back. Emphasis on lovingly. This wasn't just me, it was everyone. Even the best meditators' minds wander. It's what our minds are built to do. Everybody fails. It's something that unites us. Leonardo da Vinci invented a bunch of really cool inventions that would have been death traps. Michael Jordan, arguably the best basketball player in the NBA, said,
I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed.
Or what about the company Trafo Data, a company intending to analyze traffic data appropriately, which went under in the early 70s when it released its very first product that didn't sell because, and I quote, it didn't work. In order to succeed, we must first fail. To sharpen the pencils, they must first be dull. Try and get that into your head, because it's really easy to forget, especially when you've just failed. We need to change our perspective on failure and see it for what it really is. A guide. If I fall off my skateboard, or play a wrong note, or make the Mona Lisa look like the Joker, I need to look at what I did wrong, see what would make it better, and start again. Believe me, I know it's not that simple. Even after I was told that my mind was going to wander and I would lose focus, I still got frustrated when my mind wandered and I lost focus. I think every time we go out of our comfort zone to try something new, there's this little voice in our head that says, this is going to be the thing that I am great at. I'm going to be a prodigy, and finally my talents are going to be recognized. And then inevitably, we make a mistake. It could be a tiny mistake, but then the dominoes come falling down. This shocks us. We left our comfort zone and we were punished for it. And so we retreat. Allow yourself to try. Recognize that it's not going to be perfect the first time. The only way to start is to make a mistake and move on from there. So often we forget that failure is important. Without failure, there would be no progress, no change. When you fail, it's a symbol that you're doing something you don't know how to do. You're trying something new. You're leaving your comfort zone. You're learning. Think of a time that you failed. Odds are you're feeling pangs of regret, shame, embarrassment. These are things that we've learned to associate with failure. And yeah, maybe you tried to do a rail vault and your hand slipped and you landed flat on your back in front of a girl you had a crush on. That's embarrassing, but we pay so much attention to that embarrassment that we miss the kernel of good that's lying just underneath, a learning opportunity. These failures point us in a direction we don't want to be. So turn around and start again. In Anne Handley's book, Everybody Writes, she talks about the shitty first draft, SFD, writing a page of just the worst shit you have ever read. By doing this, you are gathering failures and mistakes, each one pointing you to where you don't want to go. They're your guide. The SFD has been a vital part of getting the Polymath up on its feet. Last week's episode went through countless iterations, drafts upon drafts of shittiness until I came up with something relatively good. And I say relatively good because I know I can do better. The sound was muddled. I need a different microphone. It took me too long to edit. I want a new title and I need to be louder. The white balance wasn't fixed, so the color kept changing and I missed a word in the dictation. The subject was too broad and I feel there wasn't a clear enough message. I could keep going until I began to cry, but that wouldn't be necessary because you get the point. I can learn from those failures for this video. This, the second episode of the Polymath, is a sort of second draft of the channel. A second chance to make the Polymath something I want it to be. Each time I do something, I'm going to do it a little bit wrong. But that failure is a guide toward how I could do it better next time. I know now not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I didn't always. I used to make these weekly comedy videos on YouTube called Hissy Wissy. I made a video a week for 12 weeks, but eventually I started to look back on my work with disdain, seeing only what I'd done wrong. Instead of learning from my poor execution, I began to doubt the quality of my ideas themselves. I'd have an idea, and in the process of actualizing it, I'd be overwhelmed by doubt, and I would pitch it. I was scared. I'm still scared. But I know how to sort the good from the bad now, and I know where those past mistakes could have driven me. There's a psychological term for this kind of thinking. It's called growth mindset. Basically, if you have a growth mindset, you believe that with practice and perseverance, you can get better at anything. Allow yourself to fail. Recognize that it's going to be shit the first time. The only way to start is to make a mistake and move on from there. Most of the time, out of fear of failure, we ignore our learning opportunity. We choose instead to stay where it's safe and warm in our comfort zone. When I think about it, meditation, painting, and basketball, domino towers, and company building, parkour and skateboarding, comedy videos and music, they all come down to starting. And after you've done that, remember the words that broke the silence in the meditation hall at 4 in the morning, and start again.